The air was crisp, the sun casting a golden glow on Buckingham Palace as the changing of the guard ceremony commenced. Tourists and locals alike gathered, cameras poised, watching the disciplined movements of the royal guards. Among them stood a man in a tattered coat, his eyes fixed intently on one particular guard. Unbeknownst to the thousands of onlookers, inside the pristine uniform, behind the stoic expression, stood Thomas Carter, one of the Queen's finest guards. His duty was to remain still, emotionless, impenetrable. It was a skill he had mastered over the years. But today, something felt different. As Thomas scanned the crowd, his eyes locked onto a familiar face, one that shouldn't have been there, one he hadn't seen in nearly 15 years. The man was older, his face weathered, his hair graying at the edges. But there was no mistaking it. This was Liam. Thomas's breath hitched. His grip tightened on his rifle. Liam had once been his best friend, his brother in arms. They had grown up together in the rough streets of East London, dreaming of a better life. But fate had taken them down vastly different paths. Thomas had joined the Royal Guard, while Liam had disappeared into the shadows, lost to the world. The last Thomas had heard, Liam was homeless, drowning in addiction. And yet, here he was, standing among the well-dressed tourists, staring at him with eyes full of recognition. Thomas wasn't allowed to react, but his mind raced. Why was Liam here? Was he in trouble? Had he come for help? Questions swarmed his mind, but he remained motionless, locked in duty. Then something unexpected happened. Liam raised his hand, a slow, deliberate motion, and placed it over his heart. A surge of memories crashed into Thomas. That was their old signal, their unspoken vow. When they were kids, they had promised, no matter what happened, if either of them ever needed help, they would do this. It was their silent cry, their bond. And now, standing amidst the grandeur of the palace, Liam was calling for him. The ceremony ended, and Thomas marched away with his fellow guards. But inside, a storm brewed. Regulations were clear. He couldn't break formation, couldn't acknowledge civilians. But this wasn't just any civilian. This was Liam. That night, Thomas couldn't sleep. Memories of their youth haunted him. He remembered the night Liam's mother died, how he had held him as he wept. He remembered the last time they spoke. Liam had been desperate, spiraling, unreachable. He had tried to help then, but Liam had vanished, and now he was back, reaching out once more. The next morning, Thomas made a decision that could cost him everything. He left his post during a break and went to the alley behind the palace, where he suspected Liam might be waiting. And there he was, sitting against the wall, the same tattered coat wrapped around him. Liam looked up, eyes filled with something between relief and shame. "Tommy," he whispered, voice hoarse. Thomas kneeled before him. "What happened to you?" he asked, his voice tight. Liam sighed. "I tried, mate. I really did. But life, it chewed me up and spat me out. I didn't think I'd make it. And then, yesterday I saw you, and I thought, maybe, just maybe, you could remind me who I used to be." Thomas swallowed hard. "You're still that person, Liam. You just need someone to believe in you again." Liam's eyes welled up. "You do?" Thomas didn't hesitate. "Always." Over the next few weeks, Thomas helped Liam get back on his feet. He found him a shelter, helped him get clean, even got him a job interview. And slowly, Liam began to heal. Months later, a royal guard stood outside Buckingham Palace, standing tall, proud. But this time, it wasn't Thomas. It was Liam, clean-shaven, in uniform, transformed. He had been given a second chance, and he wasn't going to waste it. As Thomas passed by him during the changing of the guard, their eyes met for a fleeting second. Neither spoke, but both knew. A bond unbroken, a life saved, and an unspoken promise fulfilled.